Well, okay, that wasn't our best.
Running out of crypto here. I think we should go really big.
That wasn't our best move.
So now we only have 40,000.
Oh, but blackjack.
We got blackjack. So that's a quick one.
Okay. They felt bad.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys are idiots.
Okay, but I'm going to add a zero to this, and we're going to kill 1/4 of our money right here.
Okay. Now I'm nervous. This whole $27.
Okay, that's not bad.
11.
That's really good.
Oh my gosh. Do you double down?
I don't.
Or just hit?
I don't. Wait, what does double mean? I double my bet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely double. What does that mean? Yes. That was huge. Look at that. Did we just clear? We just got to 60,000 or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Okay, we could cash out right now.
I think we made money.
Or we could go all in.
Oh my gosh. I think. Welcome to Imagining the Metaverse, a podcast where we explore all things Web3, future tech, mixed reality, decentralization, crypto, and beyond. We're your hosts. I'm Nicki Sanders, and I'm here with Scott Paul.
Howdy.
This podcast is being produced by Silicon Slopes TV, where you can find this show and more entertainment for entrepreneurs. Today, we're talking about all things DeFi and what the future of banking might look like with so many digital currencies emerging right now. So, Scott, what is DeFi?
Simply decentralized finance.
Got it.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What is finance being decentralized?
I think the simplest way is that for the entirety of my human life and almost every human alive, we've only had one option, and that is really centralized banking and finance, where a government or some controlling body issues the money, the monetary system, and controls that with their own monetary policy.
Yeah.
And so if you live in the United States, your Federal Reserve is in charge of how the U.S. dollar works. If you're in some other countries, there's some form of bank that does this, and they're always centralized. There's always some person at the center or few people that have all the control.
Not at all. I know, isn't that crazy?
And
I feel like before I learned about DeFi, it's something I never thought about.
Yeah, you don't, because there was never an alternative. So you just assumed that money kind of was ruled by a few people and behind closed doors.
That's all you know.
Very, very, very. It's not like we as the people have any say on how the money, the tokenomics works. It's like we just get told that the rates are going up, and
we're along for the ride.
And we can try to buy other foreign currencies if we think their money is being treated better. But luckily we grew up in here in America, where I believe our money is done pretty well globally. But let's talk a little more about the fundamental of what DeFi actually is, and so kind of going back to the centralized finance, that is let's take DeFi out of the equation. In a centralized finance world, say you're 25 years old, you're making $80,000 a year, you have maybe $10,000 left over after all your expenses that you try to put into savings or investments. In the centralized finance world, your options for that $10,000 are they're pretty limited for a non-accredited investor. What can you do with it?
Yeah, so we should probably define accredited investor.
Sure. Accredited investor is someone that makes enough money that the government trusts them to lose it, or trusts them to
not be poor if they lose their investments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's someone that has $1 million of net worth without their house. I think they make $250K a year.
200 as a single, 300 married, 300K married. Yeah.
And it's just not. It's not a lot of people. It's. I mean, if you look at America, it's the 1% that is accredited. So let's just start saying not many people are accredited.
Yeah.
So what are the options for the most regular normal people to find yield or save or make good investments?
It's not good. I think what's in a savings account.
Well, you could go to the BlitzStars. You could always.
You could gamble.
You could gamble.
That might work.
The government trusts us to go gamble. We can lose it all on online gambling.
That's okay. But then if we have a savings account, it's 0.1%.
It's 0.1%. It's 0.17 right now. Yeah, or less. It's so bad that
you're not
it's
beating
negative.
inflation.
You're not even getting close to what I
I
think 10-20% inflation this year.
Yeah, you're gonna just lose money. So yeah, you don't really have a lot of options.
I
Where
mean, Robinhood, people kind of moon into Robinhood and try to
yeah,
like time stuff and like
yeah,
get Tesla stock or
just picking individual stocks, getting
yeah,
in that. Yeah, that I mean, and I love what Robinhood did,
yeah,
making that more accessible.
hmm
Awesome. And then I mean, with the whole Wall Street bets
yeah,
thing, with on Reddit, like having everyone invest at the same time to
yeah,
throw the markets,
yeah. It's cool.
hilarious.
The people had control for once.
Yeah,
It was
and
in a way
people
that was
freaked
a
out.
decentralized
Yeah,
mob that
yeah.
happened. Like that.
Brought
Like
to the centralized
yeah, yeah,
system.
yeah.
Dude, it was just
So
like poetic justice.
it was so funny.
I loved that.
So there was ways, but it's not really easy to get a lot of real estate with $10,000. It's not
No.
easy to, you're not really getting into big government bonds and stuff. You're not getting into these alternative investments where there's higher yield because you're not
Because they're
accredited.
riskier.
And
Yeah.
if it's riskier, the government pretty much blocks most people from doing
Yep.
it.
Yeah, that's something I love about DeFi is there's no barrier to entry. I mean,
Correct.
really. I mean, right now I think there's like a technical barrier to entry just
Right now,
because
there's a
it's kind of
technical
tricky.
barrier. Yep.
But there's no like you don't have to like make a certain amount of money. You don't have to have a bank account. Like there's none of those requirements
Yeah.
to get in, which I think is really cool, especially when you bring in like third world country stuff
Exactly.
where people literally don't have banks, but they all have phones.
Yep.
Stuff like that's really cool.
What it is I mean you're quite literally able to do things in DeFi that are reserved for like sovereign nations and massive banks. You're able to go and lend out your crypto
Yep.
and provide liquidity into these massive pools. It's no different than like I always thought of it as like the you go land in Heathrow Airport and there's an exchange, you can currency exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go get there's like 60 different little currencies you can get, and they have them all there on site.
Yeah.
And you trade your U.S. dollars in to get pounds or euros.
They're a
or
liquidity pool.
They're
Really.
liquidity pools,
Yeah.
and there's fees for doing that.
Yeah.
And basically, most of what I remember when I got into DeFi was I was basically making fees and yield by pairing
Yep.
two currencies together and letting people kind of
You trade on it.
trade on those.
And then you get a percentage of the fee.
yeah, the problem was people are just doing they were paying way not realistic yields. But there is in for hundreds and hundreds thousands of years there's yields for providing this liquidity.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
what the banks are doing with your savings account money.
yeah, every single time. Like where they're paying us less than 1%, but they're out there easily getting 8, 9, 10, 11% on big money moves that they're doing. So DeFi lets everybody play that game of the banks,
Exactly.
and it lets you be the bank.
Yeah, you could be your own bank.
Exactly.
Yep. I think that's really
How,
cool.
how does someone do that? How do we actually get
That's
to be our own
fun.
bank? Like
So, I mean, if you're going to be like a crypto purist, that literally means that you hold your own private key. So, to participate in a blockchain network, you have to have a public and private key pair. That's just how the cryptography works. That kind of like runs the whole blockchain network. So, the public key is something I could give to you, Scott. If I'm like, hey, give me some ETH. Here's my public key. You can send it. And
Yeah.
that's fine. I can give that out to anyone. People
just like
can't
like
spend
an
it.
email address.
It's an email address. It's like if I had like a numbered safety deposit
Yep.
box, I'm like, here, will you put some money in it?
PO box or
But
something.
then
even, yeah, just
I have,
public.
but
Yep.
then the private key is the thing that actually unlocks those funds, so
Yep.
that to allow you to spend them.
Yep.
So if you hold your private key, you're being your own bank because, I mean, for better for worse, like no one can take it away from you. No one can recover it,
Mhm.
and you can spend it whenever you want and unlock it whenever you want. The bad side is that people lose their private keys all the
Lose their
time.
private keys get hacked, like thinking they're giving someone their private key to help
Uh-huh.
them, and
Oh
they're
my
stealing.
gosh.
There's so many things that are happening. Those private keys are it's probably the biggest barrier right now
Mm-hmm.
in DeFi is. I think of my 65-year-old mom. I'm like, she just started online banking 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to convince her to go write down this piece of paper and like try to explain to her how this word,
Don't lose it.
this
Don't give it
phrase,
to anyone. Yeah.
is and like that's just too much of a barrier for most people to feel
It's really
comfortable
hard.
with. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to figure out how to get around in a lot of the next wave of DeFi applications. They're trying to figure out how to make that easy for it should be as simple as signing up for Venmo or Cash App. It needs to just be very very simple for the 75-year-old person to
smoothing that out,
not have to like
just essential.
become a computer scientist. Right now, to do DeFi, you almost have to like understand deep levels of how computers function.
Dude, it's wild. Like, I've never thought I would be a pirate, but even just holding my own private keys, and I'm like etching things into metal and storing them in multiple locations. I have like fireproof safes. Like, I've turned into this person, like this crazy person.
Oh, that gives me anxiety thinking about.
It's so wild. Yeah. And then on top of that, when you're doing DeFi and like I'm trying to walk a friend through it over text. Soon it's like, oh, I can't even do it over text. Let me call you. And it's a 30-minute call of me like step by step going through. It's just a nightmare.
Well, that's why Giddy started, because I lost this huge amount of money on Pancake Swap. Didn't lose it, but they upgraded their protocol, and so my money got locked in a kind of a contract that was like getting I don't know what they call it, but they were just getting rid of that old contract and having everyone upgrade. And I'm like,
oh no.
Okay,
that's so
freaking out. It's so confusing for me because I didn't understand. I didn't know how to upgrade and do all the switch it around. And so I called up. I found this person online that was Eric Parker, who's now the CEO of Giddy. But he found me my money, got it, helped me get it. I gave him a fee to do it, and then we started helping people on
that's such a good
Zoom.
Idea.
And then we're like, this is not scalable. Helping people do that thing that you do with your friend for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're like, should we just make an app that makes it so no one has to do this hard DeFi hard ways?
Dude, it's so hard. Yeah, and it's just like you were saying with your grandma, or your mom, like there's no way.
No,
like,
it's almost comical because I'm like, Mom, you got to first go get this BNB token so that you have gas to buy the Pancake Swap. But go to Pancake Swap to buy cake. Then alpaca is really, you want to pair cake and alpaca so that you can get that yield.
First of all, the terminology is doing us no favors.
No.
Like, we sound like a bunch of crazy people.
I mean, we are a bunch of crazy people.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't, it's just crazy.
The terminology doesn't help.
That always cracks me up because, like, the underlying fundamentals of this is, like, actually, like, super simple. And it's what, like, the centralized world of, like, traditional finance does. Yeah. But then we've just like made it so silly.
Well, I think it's just because it's so boring in the centralized world. Like banking is just not.
It's not sexy.
Not at all,
it's
and like
not exciting.
No, and so it's like I think the next generation's like realizing. I think and what I love about it is they're getting economic education.
Yeah.
By playing these games, or we're actually learning. Like you said, you never even really thought about centralized banking and stuff until you realize, oh, there's another option. Bitcoin started with the white paper, and now there's all these other currencies. And what does it mean that people can actually, that a bunch of people can come together in consensus and have a trustless system, and that holds value through the like miracle of the internet and computers, talking to each other, all encrypted. And I'm like, that's powerful. What's happening, and we haven't even seen the beginning of it. Like right now, we're still at top of the inning, first inning.
You think so?
I think so.
What do you think's next?
I think I don't know who's going to get there first, whether it's AI or people, but I think money's going to disappear.
Like fiat currency disappear?
I think we're not going to I think things are going to like get so scawampus that like the idea of money as we know it right now is just going to start to dissipate. Like we're going to be able to create value. Almost like I was saying right there, make me soccer ball. And the cost to make soccer ball is so inexpensive. And the cost to make art is digital art. And then also between that, I think we're also like AI is going to start solving a lot of problems and jobs are going to disappear. And so we're going to need a new economic system when there's 30% unemployment. We're going to need something that for the have and the have-nots, or otherwise it's going to be really rampant class warfare. So I kind of think someone's going to figure out how to get rid of money.
You think
and
so?
And I think DeFi is going to help it. I don't know why. That's one of my weird versions of this whole thing. And it's like 50 years away. Well, I'm really a fan of apocalypse actually because I don't think it's scary. I actually think it's peaceful.
You're like welcoming it.
It's a peaceful apocalypse.
Peaceful apocalypse.
I believe AI is going to. We've all been messing around, being rude to each other, and we're like fighting a lot, and yet everything's really good. Like not a lot of people are dying anymore. Most people have food. things are great, but we're all getting like really angry with each other. So I think AI is going to come alive and go, you guys knock it off.
So okay,
It's going
so
to put us
it's
in our little playpen.
robot overlords?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they love us.
Oh, so benevolent robot overlords.
Benevolent. Like, it's basically us. It's basically our shared consciousness becomes like centralized, and then we all have like a god here on earth that is basically AI. And this is a far stretch from DeFi.
Yeah,
but I believe
we
that
went down a weird path.
I believe DeFi ushers in the robot apocalypse. Okay, I mean, I can go there. I can try to like reverse engineer how I think DeFi gets us there. But it's that's why I love it.
That gets a little wild.
Yeah, that's why I love it. So how do you turn like internet funny money back into usable money at the moment?
Into fiat. Yeah.
An off ramp. That's what the word is. You're on this freeway of crypto, and there's on and off ramps.
You have to bring it back to reality sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with DeFi. Something that I've learned here since my time at TaxBit is that every transaction on chain, pretty much, is a taxable event, unless you're just transferring it like amongst like to yourself. But even like transferring from like one token to another token, not even touching fiat, taxable event.
Yep.
Entering liquidity pool, technically taxable event. All of these things are taxable events, which is something like you would never think of. And then it makes it even really more fun, where if you do stuff with stocks, like you buy and sell stocks on Robinhood, they like generate at the end of the year, they give you a 1099 form or whatever to like, oh, here's what you're going to plug into TurboTax. The blockchain doesn't do that.
No.
And so you have to do it yourself, which I think the IRS is now realizing is a huge pain. And
it's not even possible.
I mean,
I'll be the first to tell you. Like,
it's wild.
I don't know how you'd have to be a block. You'd have to read the blockchain like the Matrix to actually know what just happened there. And there's only a few people who can do that.
That's what TaxBit's doing.
Okay,
and even we struggle.
Yeah.
Because there's weird things that happen. And sometimes like one transaction on chain could be multiple taxable events because technically like all these different things are happening, and there's all these weird tiny little rules that apply that like you have to try to apply from the traditional sense down into crypto, and they don't always match one to one. So you kind of have to guess, like, I think this counts as this kind of event, but it's a nightmare.
Is the government going to be is the IRS going to be a little forgiving in these early years? Because I honestly can't figure it out. And I've tried, and I'm making my best guess on what I owe, but it's wildly there's just no way.
Yeah, this is not taxable advice, and this is not like a TaxBit official advice, like asterisk.
Yeah.
But that's been my experience is like your best effort. They understand that it's tricky. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
They're even trying to like go slow with the regulations, just because they don't want to mess it up, and they understand they're like actually being very open to like, okay, this is really complicated.
Good.
No, they're not trying to come down hard on people. It's more of like they're going to come hard on people who are purposefully trying to evade taxes, not people who are making mistakes. Yeah. So like try your best.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is awesome. And we really want to thank Silicon Slopes TV for putting up with us and producing this. And we'll talk at you guys later.
Yep. See you next episode. Ciao, ciao.